Shalom Israel. This is Yeshaya back at it with another Car Chronicle. In this one I want to discuss want to react to Elder Atazawam's video of a couple days ago. He made a video about 2-3 days ago discussing how there's nowhere in the scriptures that you're going to find where it encourages being broke. Being in poverty. What the scriptures do say, more or less, is don't look down on poor people, which I don't. But there are brothers that are between poor and well off, or doing well, that are fucking lazy, man. And it really annoys the shit out of me, because their lack of responsibility becomes your problem if you're a brother that's doing well around brothers that are not doing well. You know, I'm the first one to break bread. Anybody that knows me, you could talk to anybody that know me. I'm the first to break bread, but at the same time, after breaking bread, I start, sometimes looking at situations, looking at everybody around me, you know what I'm saying, and seeing how many people would be willing or able to break bread as I did. Because I noticed 9 times out of 10, man, just like it says, you hang around with 7 broke people, you're gonna be the 8th one. You know what I'm saying? Because 9 times out of 10, your broke friends will make you broke. I've seen it fuck 100 times. I've seen it a lot of times. I've seen a lot of, like, the scriptures specifically tell you, don't live the life of a beggar. The scriptures tell you to be responsible. Like you have to not be ignorant of money as a defense. It's a tool. Just like the brother said, money is not something we worship. Other people worship that shit. The love of money is the root of all evil. But it doesn't mean to have money is part of that evil. To make moves and the multiple streams of income, like, I encourage every brother in this faith to be knowledgeable of stocks, to be knowledgeable of cryptocurrencies, to start businesses. The common misconception about a business doesn't have to be your only or main source of income. Have an income that will once in a while give you extra money to do whatever with. You know what I'm saying? Like, be responsible, man. Understand the value of a dollar today, because we're sitting here breaking down scriptures and going into how the dollar's about to collapse. That doesn't mean, for the time being, that's if you live in the United States of America, that's the currency you have to work with. So until that crashes, that's your money. That's your money. So you have to be mindful, because a lot of y'all are putting undue burdens on other brothers because y'all fuck off your own money. And me personally, I think that is 100% unacceptable. And to me, that's just totally, like, just fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Going around asking brothers to borrow money and shit, like they don't got shit to do with their own money. They don't got shit, like brothers don't have their own bills and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I remember one time, man, I'll never forget. I was with the House of Israel, and I'll never forget that one lawyer had to check a brother and say, brother, the brother's not a bank, because somebody kept asking me, for money, and he kept, he saw it. He's like, yo, the brother's not a bank. He had to really tell a brother, I'm not a bank. Because motherfuckers, like, I don't get this whole borrowing money shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand sometimes there's a need to borrow money. Hell, I need to borrow money sometimes. Sometimes I just do something with my personal savings, you know, and don't have to bother nobody. You know, but I cannot fathom. I hope every brother in this faith is smart enough to have a fucking savings. You know, like I would not understand. You don't even have a savings? Because if you had a savings, you wouldn't need to borrow from others. If you save up money, you don't have to borrow money. And if you don't borrow money, you're not being a burden like a lot of y'all brothers be, man. There's too many takers. There's not too many brothers that are willing and able to provide and help brothers. And that's the problem. The brothers that actually help out others, those are the ones that get screwed by the brothers that don't fucking have no responsibility with their own money. By no means am I saying that you know, you can't borrow money or that you're wicked if you do. I'm just saying the common sense aspect of it is y'all gotta get on y'all shit, man. Why do I say this? Why am I so passionate about this? Because I am very passionate about the subject. And I'm going to tell y'all why. You know, you're not going to get a brother that came up with stories. Like, forget all the gangster hood shit. Everybody talks about the thugged out, oh, I used to sell drugs and this and that. I'm going to tell y'all my story. Came from Cuba at 7 months old. We stayed in Miami. After a few years, you know, my father got acclimated to the United States. We moved to Houston in the projects. We was living in a project. It wasn't a bad project. To my recollection, it wasn't like one of those, you know, super bad situations. You know, because you do have ghettos that are filled with poor people that don't necessarily resort to you know, crime to that effect. Right? So the opportunities were drying up because at some point Issachar started coming like crazy to the United States, and that limited opportunity for anybody that wasn't Issachar. I ain't hating, but it did cause us to have to move up north. So that's why you don't hear me with a southern accent. I might have a little trace of it here and there, but I don't really have like a flat out southern accent. So, you know, we moved to Elizabeth, New Jersey. Where we lived in Elizabeth, New Jersey was the worst hood in Elizabeth. So, well, okay, one of the top 3 worst hoods. And now we're getting into violence. But this neighborhood, I was so young when I moved out that I didn't really get the full effect of the violence of this neighborhood. So, right after that, we moved to Franklin Street in Elizabeth. We lived in Jefferson Park. We moved to Franklin Street in Elizabeth. That's another one of the top 3 worst hoods in Elizabeth. Like, growing up, the worst hoods in Elizabeth was Catherine Street, South Park, Franklin and 6th, 3rd Street, Jefferson Park, Pierce Manor, Bayway Manor. I don't know if it's called Bayway Manor, but and 3rd Street also had projects, two projects next to each other. So, you know, when I was younger, Elizabeth was worse. So, you know, that's where I grew up seeing drive-by shootings and all types of shit. You know, drive-by shootings, people selling drugs. You know, people just pretty much same ghetto shit that you see growing up. And again, I'm telling you a story. I'm not telling y'all no tough guy shit. I'm telling y'all a story of poverty. So, that's when I come of age, and that's when a lot of times my parents have to leave me alone because it's no babysit. They don't have babysitting money. That's when you have, plucking roaches out the cereal box, like that song said. The Ghostface. All that I got is you. I was plucking roaches out the cereal box for real. That was literally what I was living. What else? Food stamps, being embarrassed of fucking food stamps, being mad at my parents because you're sending me to the store to buy food with this shit. I was already poor and didn't have the best clothes. In fact, fuck best clothes. I had the worst clothes. I was the worst dressed. Had to be. Back then, the thing that kids was wearing was Russell, Champion. I didn't have money for none of that shit. Fuck Jordans. I barely could afford Reeboks. Like, we was really fucking poor. Dirt poor. And I was getting picked on in school because of it. Always had to fight and shit. I just was not popular because of that. And then, fast forward, I just grew up that way. You know what I'm saying? Poverty, roaches in my cereal seemed like a normal thing. Something I had to get used to because that was going to happen. Mice. I remember I let a nasty bitch stay with me one night. I wound up having an outbreak of bed bugs. Then she moved. No, it's not she moved. Then I wound up fighting off the bed bugs and conquering them. This was when I was living in MLK in North. Then I moved to Hill Street in North. Let another bitch stay with me, and that bitch gives me bed bugs. And let me tell y'all, bed bugs is like a fucking STD. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because you let somebody sleep in your bed, and then bugs start crawling into your bed and multiplying. And them bastards multiply. And when they get so populated in one spot, what they wind up doing is they wind up crawling up your walls. Like, that's how you see. Like, one time I literally was looking at my sheets, and I saw so many fucking creatures. I thought I was seeing things. I saw so many creatures, little creatures, just crawling all over my bed. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? I look all over, it's tons of fucking little bugs. Come to find out, those was bed bugs. And I brought them with me for a couple of apartments too. Because I remember when I moved to Mount Pleasant, I was, there was bed bugs there. Not that they were there already, I brought them there. Fortunately, by then I knew how to fucking, how to holocaust them off. So, they didn't, there wasn't an outbreak in that apartment like it was the previous two apartments, but I say all that to say I know what the fuck it's like to have mice, roaches, bed bugs. If you're a brother that is financially irresponsible, get used to having roaches, mice, and bed bugs. Because at least I had the ability to fight them off. I went to Home Depot and got the poison. I had a fucking steamer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I holocausted them shit. Like, them shits was falling off by the dozens when I started spraying that poison. I did that bomb shit that you bomb your apartment and you can't be back there for another 8 hours and shit, probably more. Like, that's how serious I had fucking bed bugs. And y'all brothers out there being handed opportunities to make money and not taking them, and still asking brothers to borrow money, that's a slap in the face to me. You are practically slapping me in the face. Don't ask to borrow money if I'm offering you a long-term or a more long-term solution to relieve your financial problems, and you're telling me no, then I'm not gonna fucking give you no temporary money either. True story, man. My parents hit me up. Their landlord doubled their rent. Now, going back to the poverty that I was raised in, we had a nice 3-bedroom apartment that we could not enjoy because we live right next door to a motherfucking trap house. Literally live right next door to a trap house. If you like poverty, I'll take you to some neighborhoods where people are poor at and show you why the fuck you'd be a fucking fool to want to stay in that type of situation. I'll show you where the fuck they killing at. They shooting at. Since brothers are so infatuated with poverty and want to be poor, you want to tell me, oh no, I don't want an opportunity to pay my, to be able to pay my own bills and to take care of myself. Just loan me money from time to time. Fuck that. There's a saying that goes, if you fish for a man, you fed him for one day. If you teach a man how to fish, you fed him for life. I'm into feeding a brother for life. That's the situation I want to help with. I don't want to help enable you to beg me for the rest of your life every time you fall on hard times. I'm not into that shit. That's not really helping you. Helping you is teaching you a trade or helping you or maybe us taking up a collection or put you through some type of job training, or you could get a certification so you can help yourself. That's really helping you. Not fucking, oh, I'm down on my luck and I get a couple bucks. Nah, the time for brothers like that is over, man. I've been around brothers, and it's not even just brothers in the truth. This is people in the world doing shit like that too. Like, nah, bro, we not doing this bum energy shit. We're and I want to be very clear. I'm not knocking people that's poor, because I just told y'all my story. I grew up poor. I grew up in that situation. So I know very well, that you got some really good, people out there that's just poor. But I also know that you got some pretty good brothers out here that are very financially irresponsible and expect help every time that they are irresponsible with their own money. And that's got to stop immediately. So with that, I'm going to say shalom.